show. Hi, my name is Demerty. I am working alongside the Femboy Host Club to do some more interviews for you this evening. I've been doing that throughout the evening, and tonight is no different. We got a couple of wonderful artists for you to get to know this evening. But of course, we always want to make sure that we're mentioning that, hey, this is all for the sake of raising money and fundraising for the Trevor Project. And we've had some really fantastic collaborators and streamers who have been a part of making this whole thing come together, and it's all because of you being here and being a part of what these lovely people have put together for the entirety of Pride Month. So, without further ado, that's enough about me. I'll talk to you a bit about myself later on, but let's talk about these lovely people right here. We have 3 guests for you this evening. These are artists that have been participating in the entirety of the fundraising event, and I'm gonna let you all introduce yourselves one by one, and we'll probably be going through that same way of doing things so we can make sure that each of you are getting a chance to speak. So we'll kind of keep things relatively brief if possible, but don't feel pressured, but feel free to speak your mind as you see fit. But we'll kind of go down the line, and we'll probably maybe
don't tell
change
me
it
to
up a
do
little
that.
bit. Oh, well.
That's a mistake.
Well, see that. Well, I just learned something. So there you go. So yeah, let's go ahead and go down the line. We'll start with Tube Toad. Who are you?
Hello,
and,
everyone.
what
My
do you
name
do?
is Tube Toad, otherwise known as Bridget. I have been an artist for fucking 11 years at this point. I started drawing about 2014, which was middle school for me, to make anybody in the audience older than me feel old. Other than illustration.
That year.
Hell yeah. Other than illustrations, I've been recently getting into digital painting, and on top of that, as of just 5 years ago, I started dancing, and so I'm a dancer as well.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Mr. Carnival. I do digital art that celebrates queer tenderness, fantastical expressions of it. Do a lot of monster art, and recently been getting into traditional as well, which has been a lot of fun. And dance. Very excited for this year and all the art I have planned.
Oh yeah. Nice to meet you, Mr. Carnival and Tube Toad. Next down the line.
Hi, I'm Oz Pearsall. I'm a professional freelance illustrator that mainly focuses on traditional fantasy painting. So I paint physical artwork. Been drawing and painting all my life. I am also a video game dev, a musician, and most well known on here as the owner of the Strange Pair Gallery of Fine Arts.
Oh, multi-talented. Well, all of you are multi-talented, so that's really impressive stuff. Oh yeah. Love to see that. So, I would love to kind of start things off. Again, we'll go down the line to kind of keep things pretty orderly. But I'm very curious as to how you would describe your evolution when it comes to doing the artwork that you do. And this could range from the style of your artwork to the motivation behind why you do your artwork. But kind of walk us through your individual evolutions from when you started to where you are now. Well, obviously with as much detail as you feel necessary. So we'll start with Pear.
Oh shoot! I was about to take a sip. Well, when I was younger, I want to say junior high school, I was mainly doing marker artwork, and I was actually getting to the point, like in 2019, where I could make people think that I was making paintings with just markers, white charcoal, and colored pencil. On top of that, my old style used to be a little bit more graphic novel-y, like kind of anime-ish. But there was always that bit of dark fantasy in there, and I just developed the dark fantasy aspect more and more. After 2019, I switched from marker to Holbein acrylic gouache, which is like it's a water soluble acrylic, or you could think of it as a really opaque watercolor. either is relatively accurate. It's a weird paint. And so that was in 2020, and I wanted to move away from markers because I was tired of working with markers. Because you never know how much ink is left in them, and it makes it a pain in the ass if you're working on a big project like a graphic novel or a video game, where you need a lot of the same color. And if you run out mid-level or mid-chapter, you're shit out of luck. And so I ended up falling in love with the medium, and I have been painting ever since. And I've just gotten more and more into the dark fantasy aesthetic with my work and really solidifying the look of my artwork. A lot of the inspirations of my art come from like early 2000s Magic the Gathering and old fantasy novel book covers. That's the vibe I'm going for.
Awesome. So just one quick question for you. You can kind of keep this pretty brief. Are you
Sure.
painting largely digitally or physically?
No, I don't do digital art. All of my artwork is traditionally painted. On a personal level, I do not enjoy working with the digital medium. It's not as satisfying to me. It's not why I make art. I like the physicality of artwork. That is where I find my personal joy with it. I have a lot of respect for people who do digital art. It's just not for me. So all of my work is physical, including the stuff I've done for my video games. All of that is traditionally animated on paper.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for that deep dive into your evolution. We can talk to Mr. Carnival now.
Okay, so for me, my journey began in 2012 with my first tablet. I got really into pixel art, which I don't do anymore. But the focus was I wanted to make art I could see myself in as an intersex person, and also with the trans-masculine identity, there was a lack of representation that felt diverse or happy or beautiful. So I wanted to do my part in balancing that out, and it's been a very satisfying journey of every piece of art is a gift for me, but I also know it's impacting other people, and that brings me so much joy. Yeah, and my process is completely different now. I just put a whole bunch of colors on the page and then line art. I've gotten away from pixel art was really cool, but I got locked into having it have to be perfect. So I've allowed myself to be more fluid with my art, and ever since then it's been just an incredible experience every time I paint. I'm very grateful for it.
And I guess I'll ask you the same question. Are you largely physical or digital? Because I know you mentioned you got a tablet, that's where you started, but have you moved towards the physical, or are you still in the digital sector?
I'm moving towards digital with stop motion and clay and paintings again, and it's been a lot of fun. I'm definitely used to the digital medium, but yeah, traditional painting is incredible.
Okay, thank you so much.
Hi, Neutral.
Go right ahead, too.
So I also started in physical pencil and paper. I started mostly out of a drive to try to meet one of my peers where they were at. And hot tip to anyone wanting to get into art: do not compare yourself to others, compare yourself to yourself. Comparing yourself to others is never a good idea. So I always was trying to get to the point of where my friend was at, and they were crazy good for a middle schooler. Thinking back on their art, they were insane. So I started drawing pencil and paper. I started out very geometric with characters. A whole lot of 45-degree angles. If it was rounded, it was on graph paper, where it's a single cell, and then rounding also is another single cell. So I started very, very geometric, and to a degree, that's still seen in a lot of my art today. I mean, I got these cyber lines on me for a reason, but it's seen with my own Sona that I've created and drawn myself, the bangs on her is it's rounded, angular, and it's just something that I've kept with me this whole time. But I started with just pencil and paper, and at one point I got a really crappy Wacom little screenless tablet, and I used that thing for a good 5 years before upgrading to a Huion bigger tablet, still screenless, and I actually need to replace it because the surface is pretty scratched up. But I've had that thing for like 7 years, or something like that. I can't remember exactly how long I've had it. But I've always had a lot of interest in physical mediums, but I always ended up gravitating towards digital because it was so much cheaper to get the range of color that I wanted for my pieces. Physical mediums are expensive, and so there's a lot of upfront cost on a tablet and whatever program you want to use. But as it developed, it's just, I don't have to buy paints, I don't have to buy pencils after pencil, and markers go dry, and so on and so forth. But it's always something that's interested me. If I had infinite money, I would be doing physical mediums. But because I grew up in a poor family and am still pretty poor, I took what I could, and I'm happy with it. As I said, moved into digital painting as of late, and it's been really fun. And so it's just, yeah.
What do you find the most fun about digital painting?
It's messier. Even in digital painting, it's messier. It's not as exact. It's not as strict. I can do the shape, and I can paint the shape of what I'm trying to paint, and it will still, the edges are going to be a little messy. And I find a lot of fun in the push and pull of shading. It's a lot more involved on the push and pull of shading than like cell shaded kind of thing. So I like that back and forth.
I could make an argument that I do that too, like with traditional painting.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's cool.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you
I
said
like the push and pull.
Oh, okay. I thought they were asking you what you like about digital more.
Oh, no, not more.
No, just
in
painting at
general.
all.
Oh, okay. I totally misheard the question.
This wasn't a competition. Don't worry.
No.
Yeah, no, I was really
I think
confused during that
physical
answer because I
mediums is
completely
awesome.
misheard the question. I'm like, what are they talking about?
I think physical mediums are awesome, and I wish I could do them, but I'm poor.
No, that's totally fair.
All right. Nice. Okay, great. So let's go ahead and we'll keep it moving. I'm very, very curious. This is kind of a silly question. But do you believe that there's some correlation with having a bent towards being artistic to ultimately finding out that you're perhaps a furry? Do you think that's kind of is there some correlation there? Because I a lot of my friends are artists, and they're furries, and they're lovely people, and I'm a bit of a silly question, but like, do you think there's some correlation between the two?
That's not where I thought that question was going. I thought I thought the way the question was going is like, do you find a correlation between art and being gay? But
Oh no.
Yeah, I was expecting.
I mean, that's also a fun question.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of artists who aren't gay, so that's
I am. How much can I say on Twitch? I am not a furry, but I am a furry enjoyer. Let's say.
That's allowed.
I saw that.
Please explain yourself.
I saw.
Please explain yourself.
I don't think I will. Tell you what, donate. One of
Furries
you
are
donate
lovely.
$200. One of you individually donate $200 to the Trevor Project right now, right this fucking instant, and I will explain myself fully in great detail.
All right, someone's got to show me receipts though.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
You-
in the
you keep an eye on
meantime, so you're like a
So-
furry enjoyer then.
Well, I'll tell you
So
what.
no,
I'll tell you
no
what.
correlation.
This might maybe even be like, I can come up with an answer. I was really inspired by monster artwork from Magic the Gathering, and even younger than that, Yu-Gi-Oh! And I still love painting monsters. Monsters are really, really cool. And I think there's just something very fascinating to an artist about creating something inhuman. And there's something like fascinating and like powerful about making something that's not human. For me, that comes from the creation process. For furries, it might come from something else. But I just think monsters are pretty darn cool.
I agree.
So hell, maybe.
Mm.
Nice. So, Carnival? Correlation between being artistic and the furry lifestyle.
And the furry life. Also not a furry, but you know, a part of the monster community, which is their neighbors. So nothing but respect for my fellow furries and monster lovers out there. I think there's this gravitation towards things that are non-human, like as artists, because we have like these unique perspectives on life and on people, so we can feel that kind of alienation, which can also be tied into being queer and an artist as well. And it's like, you know, we're all under this umbrella together. So yeah, I think that there's something there that it makes sense that those groups mesh together. That's my take on it.
Yeah. I think there is definitely some overlap between like the LGBTQ community, like in general, with like having artistic tendencies. Because I think a lot of us are oftentimes like by ourselves, or like we're kind of just keeping like out of the public eye, and so we kind of
Yeah.
build on our own skills in our own spaces, and then ultimately, well, hopefully, we find people like us who we can relate to and the craft that we do. So yeah. But you know, just for the sake of the fun question, what do you think, too?
I am also not a furry. If you saw ears on
I
me,
like
no,
how
you
the
didn't.
ears came
I-
off. Hold
I
up.
have no ears, actually. No
They were
ears at
never
all.
there.
I'm that much of a not a furry. No, in reality though, it's Kemono Mini is basically as far as I go in terms of any like draw to that kind of thing. I am also not someone who likes monsters that much. So I specifically like the human form. I like the human shape. I like humans, and that's what I like drawing is human shape. That being said, of the vast majority of my commissions I have ever been paid for have been from furries. It just happens that way. And so I'm wondering if it's necessarily there's a certain greater number of furries as artists, or greater number of furries interested in arts in general. Because me personally know a lot of furries, and not so many of them are traditional artists, like traditionally in art form. I have my own opinions on what is considered art. I am very anarchic about it. I think a lot more is considered art than people usually do. But it's to that end, I don't know if there is necessarily I don't think the Venn diagram is a circle. I think it is a Venn diagram, though.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So, next question for you three. I'm very curious as to what your role in your involvement with the Trevor Project, well, with the Femboy Host Club Trevor Project fundraiser collaboration. What were your contributions to this event, and that's been going on the entirety of this month, and has it how has it affected you, if anything? Has it been good? Has it been great? Anything that you'd want to do differently? But yeah, we can talk about just what you all did for the sake of this event, if anything, which I'm sure you have. So we'll start with Tube this time.
I don't know what the raffle is going on. I don't know. I'm not fully understanding how the raffle is working, but I am contributing a commission. So for anyone who is looking for a commission from me, all of it, you can go ahead and raffle for it. I also was one of the dancers for the big collab dance event just last week. Had a great time with that. It was a very, very good time. I was also a dancer for last year's, and between years I felt like I definitely felt my improvement. I felt my own improvement as an artist in my dancing over the course of the year. Last year I was so winded after the end of the dance event, and this year I felt like I could go for another 2 hours. So
Nice.
that's about the extent of my contributions.
Definitely progress. Progress in the right directions for the things that you love doing. Great to hear it. Mr. Conroy?
Yeah, I also have a commission in the raffle. I'm very excited for that. Very cool. Being a part of this has made me feel more inspired to get involved in communities that are giving back, especially with everything happening in the world right now. Really has warmed my heart to see just how much people can come together, and yeah, I think it's lovely. But that's like the extent of my involvement with it. But I'm hoping to get involved more, especially next year.
Lovely. I'm sure whoever gets your commission or gets your artwork raffled up to them are definitely going to appreciate it. They're going to have those good vibes. For sure. Yeah, love that.
Oh yeah.
So, Perry, you're on.
I am raffling off 3 of my paintings. I usually keep a stock of paintings that's like, if I haven't sold them in a while, usually I put them aside for potential charity work. And I did that last year. I love donating paintings to charities. I get done like 2 paintings a week, so like I have plenty of paintings, and I figure if I can't sell them, well, I might as well put them to good use as something good for the community. And seeing just how absolutely batshit insane this fundraiser has been, like $45,000. That's like a year's wage. Like,
Yeah.
That's insanity that we were all able to do that. And it makes me happy, not just for the reasons that my 2 fellow artists have said, but just for me, it shows how absolutely incredible, the VR community is, and just like what we're capable of when we put our heads together for something like this. It's puts a smile on my face. I want to keep being a part of stuff like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I was talking to when I interviewed when I interviewed Kamai earlier, we were talking about like just how important it is for people to feel as though they are in it together. Because it's very difficult for a lot of people to want to contribute their time and or money towards something when it feels like they're kind of off on their own, or like no one else is really contributing. But when you clearly see that there are people who are just as passionate as you are, I think that really galvanizes people to want to really do great things and make
Gets
a
you
difference,
jazzed.
no matter how small that contribution may be. What matters is that you did it with the right morals and the right intentions, and I think that's a beautiful thing when people come together for a single purpose. So yeah, love that. All right, so now, I do want to ask you three another question about your art and what you all do. What inspires you? And I think some of you have mentioned a couple of things. Like I know that Para mentioned like Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic the Gathering.
Less
but it-
Yu-Gi-Oh. Less Yu-Gi-Oh.
Well,
that was when I was really
that's-
young.
Oh, okay, that's fair. Yeah. Okay. So what inspires you three to create in the way that you do now? We'll start with to begin.
Honestly, and this is probably very cliche, but anime. A lot
Yeah,
of
that's fair.
anime is where I first got my inspirations, was through Pokemon, and to this day will still create fan art for whatever series I get around to doing art for. I did a on the finale for the end of Undead Unluck. I made a tribute piece because it's one of my favorites. I've drawn many One Piece pieces. I've drawn Miku many times. So mostly anime, but not insignificant is horror. Horror has been a huge inspiration to me. Do not ask me how many horror movies I have seen because it is a disappointingly low amount. But I love horror, and it has always been a very big inspiration for me. And so, I mean, I even have a badge on here, I think, for the VR Horror Con because I vended for them a few years. I don't remember what side it's on. Or even if it's on this one.
There's something small and red over there.
Yep, there it is.
Oh, it's a skull. I see
So, yep, it's the VR HorrorCon. So I've vended for them for a few years. I've attended every single one of them. It was just, horror has always been very interesting to me, and it's I think maybe the series that I have drawn the most fan art for is Five Nights at Freddy's. Most of it is physical and 9 years old, so they're not seeing the light of day, but they exist.
All right. I mean, you said earlier that you've drawn a lot of Miku. I would say that drawing Miku, if you're doing like digital art, is kind of like a requirement. I think even if you're doing physical art, like drawing Miku at least once, you gotta draw a
Yes,
Vocaloid
yes.
at least once. It's just like
I need to draw more
just gotta
tattoo
expect
is the
that.
problem.
Yeah. Oh, there you go.
See, that's why I've never drawn Miku. I've only ever done traditional art. Haven't drawn Miku once.
Oh.
Okay, but
Wow,
a traditional
okay,
art
you
Miku
gotta.
would go hard.
It would.
You gotta.
Mhm.
You could do a physical
painting
painting.
a work of Miku.
I
People
mean,
would
if
sell
anyone
a
got the
million
money to
copies.
commission me, if anything got money,
Sell a
I'll do
million
I'll
copies,
do a dark
Pear.
fantasy Miku. I'll do a dark fantasy Miku.
Okay, well, and instead of that, let's see what inspires you. We'll have you go next, and so we can hear
Oh,
more about
shoot.
your thought process. Yeah.
Well, so it's obviously dark fantasy stuff. I I'll list a few, but it's a little more than just the aesthetic. Early 2000s Magic the Gathering art. Illustrations from the Edge Chronicles books. Incredible pen illustrations by Chris Riddell. Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess. Shadow of the Colossus. More recent inspirations, I mean, like the Dark Souls series. No shit, it's not my main source of inspiration, but it's there. Elden Ring, Berserk, the Vermis world building art books. I love Vermis. Go buy Vermis. It's an incredible. It presents itself as a guide to a video game that doesn't exist. It's so incredible. The art is so grungy. But I think what I like about all of these things is I like seeing a piece of art and being able to tell it's a part of something bigger, and letting I have ADHD, so my mind likes to come up with stories for like whatever pieces of art I see, and I can so easily imagine like it being a part of a bigger world and just letting my mind wander. It's what I want to achieve with my art. Like, you see one of my pieces and I want you to be able to be like, this is a part of something greater. I don't have the context for it all, but I can easily imagine this creature like being a part of some interesting story, and then like daydreaming about what that could be. So like mediums, fantasy mediums that inspire that kind of reaction are what inspire me.
Yeah, I love that. Because honestly, I'm glad that you mentioned the idea of looking at a piece of artwork and be able to kind of imagine an entire world like around it. Because that was actually a lot of how I directed. I used to have a small business, kind of like an offshoot. I used to have a small business where I used to sell artwork at anime conventions, and I used to direct my artists to create his art with the intention of creating a story. And I would like create the stories myself, so I would direct him to draw what I wanted and to paint the way I wanted him to like paint digitally, and I would direct him to have this moment mean something, have it to like insinuate that there's more to it than just what the image portrays. And I think that kind of idea of thinking more broadly and thinking more detailed is a great idea and great mindset to have towards art, personally. So I'm right there with you.
Every painting I make, I want people to feel like could be not just like a painting, but like a panel in a comic.
Yeah.
For a comic that doesn't exist.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, Mr. Carnival, what inspires you?
Oh gosh, so many things. But if I had to really boil it down, I come from a family of artists. So I have 3 brothers who are incredibly talented, 2 parents that also paint, and they all inspire me every single day to continuously push myself with my art and try new things with it. But also what I've like come to find the most joy with inspiration is people and experiences and tenderness, and capturing that tenderness that's within every person. I used to be really interested in makeup and costume because it was a way to bring out the color inside someone. And I found that with digital art, it was way less expensive than other mediums to bring that out, and doing pieces of art for friends and seeing their reactions and making them feel just as beautiful as they are. Like, just, it fuels me. Like, it makes me so happy to do art. And yeah, people are my main source of inspiration personally.
I mean, I believe the saying goes, art imitates life. So
Yes.
yeah, the people that you know, the experiences that you've had, I imagine that would really, you draw on those things to ultimately create what you want to create, and the energy that you want to put into it, and the vibe that you want to put into it comes from, I would imagine, being surrounded by other positive people who are doing, in your case, very similar things that you are. That's awesome.
Yes.
Love
100%.
that. Wonderful. So, my next question for you 3 is, what do you do art for? Do you do art for yourselves, or do you do art for others? And I'm be curious on your philosophy on that. So we'll actually start with Pear this time.
Both. Very simple answer. My reason for making art is incredibly simple. I want to make as much exceptionally cool shit as possible. That's it. I want that cool shit to inspire people, yeah. But like, I like it when other people look at the cool shit I make and they're happy with it. I do a lot of commission work on here, and seeing people look at the type of cool shit that I like making, and then they commission me. It's like, hey, I want to see this idea, but your take on it. That's the best. I'm living the dream. I get to make cool shit for people in the way I want to make it, but that still gets a reaction out of them that lets me know that they are like getting fulfillment from what I'm making. Like that's exceptional for me. A big example. Actually, the biggest example. I started doing. I think I can talk about this on. If I word this right, I can talk about this on Twitch. I do a lot of work for a death metal themed exotic dance club here in VR Chat. It used to be a club called Soulwell, and that fell apart and became Cinder's Garden. They're both death metal themed. And I don't do I don't paint like pinup girls for their staff poster. I wouldn't like doing that. I do not like making not safe for work content. That's just a me thing. Like I don't enjoy creating it. But what they want from me, they want badass demon women that look like they could be on a Magic the Gathering card. And it's so fun. It's so damn fun. And I feel very blessed that I've been able to do that consistently over the years. So I make cool shit for myself, and other people like it, and that also makes me happy. So I'm doing it for both.
All right, awesome. So, Mr. Carnival?
Yeah, I'm gonna say both too. I mean, like, it's like art is a gift to yourself. Every time you do a piece, you improve. So that's a gift. But also, when you're drawing what you love and pursuing your passion, like, it's a gift that keeps giving, and it impacts other people, and that's a gift to cherish. And when you get to do art for others, whether it's a commission or a gift, I mean, that's usually my go-to for holidays or birthdays, and I'm so happy that I have the skills to do that for the people that I care about and love. Yeah. Both is good.
All right. And you?
I'm saying both, but for a more philosophical reason. I think, I'm making art for myself because I like to make art. But I also think an art piece is not complete without being seen. If no one sees it, then it is not a completed piece. It is just something that exists, but it's along the lines of, if a bear shits in the woods and nobody is there to see it, did it ever happen? Effectively, no. Effectively, it never happened. So art is an incomplete thing until it has been viewed. Once it has been viewed, it is a fully formed piece, and that can come in the form of you just posting a picture of it online, or it could even come in just so far as you saw it. As soon as someone has seen your piece, it is a completed piece. I don't really know how to word this in a way that makes sense.
Do you mind if I add on to it? Because I might have some insight as a traditional artist. So a lot of people ask me, it's like, don't you have a hard time selling your work? Like mailing it out? Like, haven't you put so much of yourself into that? And I know there are a lot of traditional artists, younger traditional artists, who have trouble selling their work. Not because like they have trouble selling it because of quality, like they have trouble actually like letting go of it. And my perspective on it is, I am so much happier knowing that my artwork is in so many people's houses and that it's being enjoyed by them, their families, the people they invite over, that it's inspiring people and it isn't just like collecting dust in my room, like that's exceptional. Like that is like, it feels more complete when I send it out. Like I get it. I get it.
Exactly. For a better vocalization of my ideals on that, go ahead and play Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, and that is all I will say about that game, because it is better
Alright.
to know nothing.
All right. Thank you for your answers. Like I appreciated the extra add-on insight from Pear. You know, it really does come down to like, you know, how you perceive your work, and hopefully, you know, people who see it will also appreciate it as much as you did. But at that point, what is in their hands, it's for them to kind of experience. And, you know, there's a joy in creating it, and there is also a joy in letting other people experience it as well. Sounds like for all of you. All right, nice. So, my next question for you three is, what are your hopes for your artwork to achieve? I know we kind of briefly talked about it in terms of whether you do art for yourself or for others. But what do you hope that your art achieves when it gets into the hands of whomever ends up, you know, or earning it or having it? And ideally within the context of the event itself, you know, then you know what has been going on this entire month with raising money for a great organization like the Trevor Project. I mean, it could be anything really, but you know.
Obviously, raising money for a great organization like the Trevor Project. Hi, but I get so giddy when people look at my art, have it in their hands, tell me how much it stirs their imagination. I love it when they tell me what they think the piece is about, and I don't care to correct them. I don't want to correct them, because like that's the goal. The goal is to have them think about it, to have them go on their own mental journey for what it is. Sure, I have my idea, but that's who gives a fuck about that? Like I want to hear the journey it takes you on. Because that's so much more important, and it's so cool. It's so damn cool to me. Like my work made you go on like a vision quest. Like that's the best.
It inspires and stirs the imagination, even if a person isn't artistically inclined, and if it can awaken some matter of thought and you know imagination, like things they haven't thought of or perceived before, then mission accomplished, I would say. Yeah. So, two.
I hope people do with my art. I mean, I don't know, just look at it. That's kind of how far I go with how I you know, like if people see it and then they see that, hey, this person's taking commissions, maybe they'll pay me to draw something for them. You know, that's great, but frankly, where my ambition ends on it is like, as long as it's been seen, you know, I make it to make it, and when it has been seen, that is how I know I made it. You know, well, you know, long term, I would hope to make a series or something, this, that, or the other, whatever. But like, what I think the thing that has always touched me the most is when I make an art piece and someone then makes it their like profile picture or their banner on Discord or something like that. That's what always touches me the most, is when someone sees my art and they say, I like this so much, I want to use this to represent myself. You know?
If I may quickly interject, do you want to know what I think when I say that? Yes, free advertising. Yeah.
I mean, there's that, to that degree, yeah, true. But also, I don't think.
But it's so
I guess
lovely. It's so lovely
Yeah.
to see that. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Carnival, what do you have to say?
So, my hope specifically for my involvement with my art in this project is that whoever gets my commission, that it can become a part of their life in a beautiful, meaningful way. In the long term, with my art as a journey, I hope that I can continue to create art that celebrates the queer experience and touches people deeply and makes them feel beautiful and helps do some healing in this world.
Love those positive vibes. Yeah, that's awesome. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Okay, so a couple more questions for you three. A couple more, not too many, but a couple. So, if you could briefly talk about how VR, and even VR chat intersects with the kind of artwork that you do, I think that'd be really interesting for people to hear, like how if there's any like interfacing between the VR experience and what you do creatively. If that at all happens, I'd love to hear about how maybe VR chat has helped you evolve your style, or maybe how you sell your artwork, or how people see your artwork. It could be anything, but how VR chat has kind of facilitated your artistic ability, because obviously you're here to have a good time, but maybe there's no intersection, maybe there is, but that's why I'm asking. So we'll start with Tube this time.
My intersection is very surface level. I've just kind of drawn people, my friends. That's kind of where it kind of begins and ends for me with VR chat. Is I've just kind of drawn people I know and their avatars. I do not like doing caricature, which is why an avatar is ideal for me. So it's just, yeah, I think that's kind of as far as it goes for me. It's pretty surface level of the intersection. Obviously for dancing, it's where I do all of my dancing. But for drawing, it's pretty much just I have drawn people that I have met through VR chat. So.
All right, great. Mr. Carnival?
Yeah, I'm gonna bounce off what you were saying. I've drawn a lot of really cool people in here. The avatar system in general is so inspiring with how unique everyone is, and it's just like, it's fun to see people embody their personality in this super creative way. As an artist, that's inspiring to see and compelling to want to draw. Also, I've had the opportunity of meeting some fantastic artists at Pear's Gallery, and they have been just like, I mean, nothing beats being surrounded by artists to make you want to make art, Yeah, I'm hoping to get more involved with like artwork inside VR chat. It's very interesting to me, painting in here. There's lots of incredible groups and very talented people. And yeah, I'm really thankful that I was introduced to VR chat, because it kept me going during a difficult year where I thought about giving up art. And it's thanks to the people in here and the communities that I decided to keep going.
Awesome. Great. And
I want you to bring that camera in. Bring that camera in. Let me get a nice close look at it. Let me get a nice close look at chat. You're
used to being Vord, so just be gentle with them.
Hi. Hi. I'm Oz Parasol. Almost 3 years ago, little over 3 years ago, a manic depressive drunken VR strip club binge led to me getting consistent client work in this game that is now my career. This series of events also led to me starting the first fully functional community art gallery in VR chat that has led to me becoming the owner of the largest VR art gallery community in VR, period. I have done a thing that large companies have tried and failed to do because I have actually had experience in local community art galleries. VR chat has changed my life the better when I was in a place in my life where I absolutely had no idea what my future would hold, and I am fucking thriving. And my goal is to bring that same fortune to as many VR chat artists as possible. VR chat's fucking awesome. And anyone who says otherwise can kiss my ass.
I love the enthusiasm. I had a feeling you'd have a lot to say about that one, so I'm
yeah. I'm a little biased. I'm just a little bit. Also, the term.
Go ahead.
There is a term for a fine artist by the name of KG Paints, K Guillory. They spoke at our gallery and wanted to. The VR community actually came up with a term for the art movement of taking art that is inspired by events in VR and making art from those moments. It's called immersivism. So, like, taking the VR experience and turning it into kind of an art movement.
Alright, well, I'm sure it will catch on the more it's used. I think that's really cool. Yeah.
Just felt it was relevant to mention that.
Yeah, for sure. But I do want to thank you three very, very much for sitting down with me to answer my prying questions about, what you do and why it's important to you and why all of you are so talented. And I really appreciate you taking the time to do so. So one last thing. If there's anyone you'd like to shout out, we can kind of go down the line. And you guys can tell who you would like to, just give credit
Also,
to.
who are you? Start with who are you, where you're from.
Okay, that works too.
Wait a minute.
We can do that again.
Wait a minute.
Who are you?
Yeah.
Hi, I am TubeToad. If you want to find my work, go ahead and check me out on Blue Sky and Newgrounds. All of my art is posted on Newgrounds, and Blue Sky is where I just talk about stuff. If I had to shout out someone, shout out to my friend Stinky Treen. They're amazing, a wonderful artist, a very funny person. I am so glad to be friends with them. So shout outs. Also shout outs to Simple Flips.
Hello, I'm Mr. Carnival. You can find me on Instagram and Tumblr if you enjoy my work. I'd like to shout out my brother, who's also on here and has an amazing community. He goes by Anticrust on here, and he has the Hellfire Manor. If you enjoy meeting creative folks, check them out.
I'm Oz Parasol. I don't really use much social media. I do have a website where you can find links to all of my major projects, including my video games, graphic novels, and my card game. What? www.ozparasol.art. That is one word, Oz, O-Z, parasol.art.
EEARSALL.
SALL. All of the pairs. That is correct. Shout out to two people. Castle. He is watching. Get a camera on Castle. Without him, the Strange Pair would not have started because the Strange Pair originally was in the VRU Oasis. He's kind of the co-founder of it. I just want to shout him out because he does cool shit. And shout out to my best friend IRL, doesn't play VR chat, Steven. He's volunteering at Too Many Games convention this weekend, and he's running the arcade tournament area. I don't know, I've just been friends with him for over a decade. I feel like he deserves some shout out. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, that's fair. No, you can shout out.
Yeah, none of you know him. I don't care.
And of course, hello, I've been your host, Neferty. What I do is I am a streamer and content creator on Twitch and YouTube. I also create content on a variety of other sites, which you can find my bevy of links under Linktree.
It's
LI Inc.
on the chat too. You have been pinned on the chat.
Oh, amazing. Thank you, thank you. I really appreciate that. So you guys can look through my links. It's all there. But you can find me live on Twitch and on YouTube Sundays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Usually around the evening time of night, and you can find me there. But mainly, most importantly, aside from me just being a content creator, I do a podcast called the Sweet Talking Podcast, which I interview people in VR chat in a long form setting, and we talk for about 3 or more hours depending on the vibe. But generally speaking, I like to keep my core interviews 3 hours ish long, and then we talk a little bit more afterwards. But if you're interested in seeing some interesting people who are on the platform doing really cool stuff, I would definitely encourage you to keep an eye out for my Twitch channel, or just keep an eye out for my YouTube, where I post them whenever I'm able to, because I'm a one-woman army and I do a lot of content, so I do my best. But I really appreciate having the opportunity to be basically the interviewer of the Femboy Host Club Trevor Project collab fundraiser event. I'm very happy to have the opportunity to do this, and to just kind of like interview really awesome people in a very short form, which I don't typically do. So this has been a challenge and a joy to contribute to this whole thing that's been built over like the course of this entire month.
Thank you,
thank
Nefertiti. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Ender, for doing all the
Thank
wonderful
you.
camera
Oh,
work.
me?
Thank
I
you so
guess I could
much.
say hi. Hi, guys. I am your camera op for these 12 hours. We are now on hour 7. I'm an Android
God help you.
VTuber. I'm doing great. I'm an Android VTuber. I'm also Lux Nova's streamer and live production manager. So thanks for joining us, you guys. We're gonna have a small break as we switch over to the raffle. I've put the Trevor Project information right there in chat, so if you guys feel like donating, being super kind and generous, you know we appreciate all of you. If you're just joining us and hanging out and supporting our cause, we also love you very, very much, so thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you over there at the raffle, though, so hang in there.